Let's get these three center box graphics under control via CSS, of course, for our three devices. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sort of a systematic approach. I hope this is okay. I'm going to start off with the high res, then we'll go to the medium resolution and then the low resolution. So let's see here. I'm going to start off with the high resolution. So of course I've expanded out the size of my browser window. Just a couple of minor adjustments that I want to make here. I think overall this looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to my external style sheet into my high resolution media query. And what I'm going to do inside the high resolution media query is, well, let's see, I'm going to go and look for my content box. And perhaps just below the content box P, I'm going to go and insert another rule here. I'm going to call this content box space IMG. Now, I know I said earlier that I try to put things in order. The image comes before the paragraph. So if you want, you could flip these two if you wanted to. Doesn't really matter a whole lot, but perhaps you want to keep yourself organized. And let's see, all I want to do here is I want to put a little bit of space beneath this guy. I just want to push the text away from the bottom edge of the graphic just a little bit. So what I'm going to have this guy do, very simply, is throw or apply some margin onto the bottom. So I'm going to try margin bottom 10. Again, I might have to fiddle with that value a little bit. Come back and refresh. There we go. Something like that I think looks pretty good. It just pushed it down just a little bit. Just a very, very minor change. That's it. That's all I want to do with this guy. All right, now let's see the next device. I'm going to go and reduce down the width of my browser window, of course, and this is what we wind up with. So now we have this big empty space happening over here. Things are kind of broken almost. It kind of looks like the layout is broken. So we can do a couple of different things here. We could figure out a couple of different ways to fix this. Here's what I'm going to do. Over inside the external style sheet now, I'm going to move up to the medium resolution media query. And I'm going to go and find his content box. And once again, I'm going to go and create the same rule here, the same compound rule. So .content box space IMG. And then in my curly brackets here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to float this guy. So I'm going to say float left. And that's going to put the graphic over on the left-hand side and the text over on the right-hand side. Let me show you the result that we get. I'm going to save this and head over and refresh. There we go, something like this. So now the graphics, all three graphics, are now floating onto the left, thus having the text appearing on the right. But what I want to do too is I want to push the text away from the right edge of the graphic. You can see that the text is running right up against the edge of the graphic there, which to me is no good. I want to have a little bit of breathing room in there, a little bit of air in there. So what I'm going to do, in addition to having this guy float left, is I'm going to have him throw in a little bit of margin hyphen right, something like this. And I might try 10 pixels to get started here, something like this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save this guy and head back on over and refresh. There we go, something like that. So now we have this gap of space in there. I think that looks pretty good. The only issue that I have with this at this point in time is the gap of space beneath the text. But I'm going to leave it as it is because I don't know. We haven't been given the final text for our layout from our coworkers or our client or whomever. So we don't know. We could have some extra text down here which would fill that space in. If not, what we could do is we could put some space above this paragraph of text to push it down just a little bit to try and center it more vertically inside the content box itself. So in any regard, I'm going to leave things as they are for now. All right, good stuff. So we only have one more device to go. I'm going to go and crush this guy down to the low resolution layout. Actually, the low resolution doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty good. So there's only a few changes that I want to make. What I want to do is I want these content box header graphics to be centered inside the content box. Notice that the graphic is sitting there over on the left-hand side, and we have this gap of space there over on the right-hand side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and head back to my external style sheet, of course, head back to the external style sheet's low-resolution media query. And let's see, I'm going to go and find his content box, the content box class rule, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, and it's actually even easier than you might think, I'm going to say text-align, you guessed it, center, just like that. I'm going to go and save this and refresh the browser, and voila, now we have the graphics all sitting in the center of the center boxes, which is great. The only downside is that now the paragraphs are centered as well. Well, maybe that's okay for you. Maybe that doesn't matter to you. Maybe that kind of fits with your layout. If it doesn't, what we could do is we could go and make an adjustment here. We could say, all right, any paragraphs that appear inside a center box shouldn't be center aligned. They should be left aligned. So I could do something like this. Text-align. Now this is, of course, for the content box P, :space left. There we go, something like this. And then head back to the browser and refresh, and now we wind up with something like that. So now the graphics themselves are centered, but the text isn't. So there's the 3 center box graphics in place now inside our layout. And you know what? That pretty much wraps up the look at inserting graphics into our responsive design here using straight HTML and straight CSS. So there we go. I hope you're pleased with this. You might want to spend some time kind of collapsing and expanding your layouts here. You might want to go and make some minor adjustments if you see any issues that crop up. But there we go. There's our overall layout now complete with both text formatting, layout formatting, and of course also graphics.